Yeah.
I
Some
do.
people
I,
do.
I use
uh,
it just for the timer though. Sometimes I'll use the guided meditations, but not very often.
I
But
see.
it's got a good timer. It's got
Mhm.
good noises for the timer.
And also the background music, if
Hmm.
you need like the waterfall or
Ah,
some birds or whatever, if you like, um, it's also very nice. Um, I was introduced this by a prisoner. In fact, when I went to the prisons, um, so one of the prisoners said, "We are using inside time." I was like quite surprised. They used it, and one person actually, he came out of the prison, and then he started doing those paintings. I have a beautiful painting by a prisoner who gave me uh, the Buddha's painting of Kamakura Buddha statue. That was pretty amazing. And so I just wanted to share that also with you. So I'm using this one, and let's get started with 10 minutes meditation. Okay. Please settle on your seats. Sit comfortably. Straighten your back and your head. Keep one palm on the other. Rest them on your lap and gently close your eyes. Compassionately close your eyes and relax your eyebrows. Relax your shoulders. Relax your entire body. Now let us take a good long deep breath and hold it for a few seconds and then slowly release and relax. One more time, let's take a good long deep breath. Hold it for a few seconds and then slowly release and relax. One more time, we'll do the same. Let's also checking with the system. When we close our eyes, our ears sense door is more active. So you might hear some sounds that you normally don't hear. Just recognize them, identify them, and come back to meditation. And then we pay attention to our breathing, respiratory process, breathing in and breathing out. Let's observe how it happens. When we breathe in, the incoming breath touches the nostril before entering the body. So we'll stay there only. And the outgoing air touches the upper lip before leaving the body. So we stay there only. So we'll focus in between the entry point and exit point of our breath. This mindfulness is like a gatekeeper, focusing and observing every single breath coming in and going out, and observing, identifying, recognizing all the details of the breath. When we take long, deep breaths, we recognize it, identify it, observe it, and no judgment, not trying to control. When we take short breaths, we recognize, identify it, observe it, and not trying to control, no judging. Let's feel the sensation, recognize the sensation when we breathe in and when we breathe out. When we breathe in, maybe a little bit of cooling sensation. The air carries the oxygen, which is more of a cleansing and helping our body. When we breathe out, the air carries the carbon dioxide, a little bit of warm. So the toxic things is coming out of the body. We breathe in with positive energy. We breathe out, leaving the negative energy. Feel peaceful, happy, relaxing, and calm. Let's try to identify our thoughts now. Whatever thought comes to your mind, just let it happen. Recognize, identify, no judging, no controlling. In between, if you hear any noise, recognize, identify, come back to meditation. Now let's practice silently for 1 minute 30 seconds. Let's take a good long deep breath. Hold it for a few seconds and then slowly release and relax. With closed eyes, let's keep our palms together close to our heart and say 3 times Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Now gently and compassionately open your eyes with a more positive energy and looking at the brighter side of the world. Thank you. And I would like to invite everyone to say uh, something about the meditation. Um, Write something here in the chat so everyone can see um, how you felt. And especially, we had a last 1 minute 30 seconds silent meditation. How did it go? And what thoughts did you recognize in your meditation? Let's take a couple of minutes. Beautiful, right? So everyone thinks, many of you thinks um, that you were distracted, and so you were a little worried. So what do we do? This is what happens every time we try to deal with the mind. Mind will resist. Mind at the beginning will not like you try to control, dominate. So what should we do? Just just let it go, right? Just let it happen. And at the beginning, if you let it behave the way or the mind wants, and just observe it, the mind will think, oh, this guy is not going to harass me. uh, so we try to become a friend of the mind, and then the mind will not try to be aggressive, little bit calm down, and then we should be smart, skillful, to make the mind behave the way we want. Yeah. So it is said the mind is like a wild buffalo, and so we have to tame it, and eventually it will become so loyal to you and do whatever you want. But at the beginning, it will retaliate, uh, even be more aggressive. That can happen. But the constant practitioner can be skillful and tame your mind, because the mind is something that you can catch. It's like durangamang ekacharang asarirang guhasayang. So durangamang, it travels long distance. Yesterday, if you came from the Mars or the moon, uh, today, right now, it can go right away to the moon or the Mars. Wherever that you travel in the planet or out of the planet, the mind can really go faster. And Ekacharang mind travels alone, so kind of a solitary sojourner. And um, Guhasayang, it travels, it lives, dwells in a cave. This is the cave, the body. uh, so Durangamang Ekacharang Asarirang. Um, Guha is the cave, and Asarirang, it doesn't have a body of its own. And Ye Chittang Sanyamesanti, if someone tames this mind, Mokkanti Mara Bandhana, that person can liberate himself or herself from the clutches of Mara, from the bonds of Mara, from the shackles of Mara. Mm. That's from Dhammapada. um, okay, so with that, I would like to start our class. Mm, mm. Maybe I'll pay attention to this one. uh, these are the folders that we created. Both Dr. Jacobs and I have the access. And also, these are your assignments. And we would like to add more assignments when we get them, and when we click we can see, and later on we are going to share with each and every one of you. I mean, your own folder will be shared with you. So you and three of us can have access, so we can edit and give comments over there. Okay. Has everyone sent the assignments?
Yeah, I got a confirmation from both of you that you received it. I don't see my name on the folders, but I know I sent my homework.
Okay. Yeah. I hope Dr. Beth also will help me in uploading um, your folder. So what we can do is easily. What's your name? Corey? Corey, right?
Yeah, Cory.
Corry?
No R, single R. There you go. And then Russell, Russell.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. So later we will add.
Mine is not on there also.
Lisa?
No, I'm Kong Shi.
Oh, oh. Okay. So we'll do that.
Thank you.
uh, uh, could you please type your name? This is Kong Sheng, isn't it?
No, there is a Venerable Kong Zhen, and she's in Chicago.
Okay, okay. Okay, so we will do that. I just wanted to share this that
Okay, thank
uh,
you.
we do it for your assignments.
Yes.
We
And
do have them. I remember them. So don't worry.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I received your confirmation. Thank you.
and also we have a common folder here. So not the common folder. I think suggested readings. I think so. Yeah, maybe we can add this also with the. We can share this also with everyone. Uh, yes, that we will do soon.
Will you be sharing these also with the Slack group?
Yes,
I,
I can do that right away. The common folder, we can share it right away. I think that's the suggested reading. So I go to Slack.
Yeah, you'll have to change the privacy settings on the folder though.
Okay. So before sharing, you mean?
Yeah, if you go back to the folder and if you want to share the screen, I'll show you how to do it if you need help.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Wait a second. We do that first of all. We have Corey who can help us. Okay, yes.
Click the little gear
Um,
down just a little bit.
wait.
See the question mark up? You see the search bar, right? Where it says search and drive?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
there you go. Click that. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm lying to you. I think you were right with the multiple people, like where it's a, yeah, right there. And then hit get,
Shareable thing?
yeah, it says only people added can hit change to anyone with the link.
This one?
Yep.
This is fine, right?
Yeah, click the change to anyone with the link.
Okay.
And then hit copy link.
Okay.
And then hit done, and then you can post that in Slack.
Thank goodness for Corey.
Okay, here we go. Can you see if that works?
Yes.
Okay, nice. So we can add more. Okay, so welcome to our Abhidhamma class. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Good. Just a second. Okay. Okay, this is the day that we have here, April 3rd, and tomorrow is the 4th, and just a few more days left, right? And okay, so these are the things that we did before, and I just want to say that um, Dr. Beth also will be correcting me if there is anything. So this is May 1st, right? We have the revision, and May 1st will be our revision time, and then May 2nd we'll have a mock exam and final Q&A session May 2nd, and these important days you need to please remember. Okay, Dr. Beth, is that okay? Can also
Yeah,
double check.
Totally good. Yeah, that sounds
Okay.
great.
Okay, good. All right, so with the Abhidhammatta Sangaha of Anuruddhacharya, and so these are the chapters. Especially today, we will discuss about the chapter 6, analysis of matter, that is the Rupa. The first edition, 2 volumes, and the first volume, 1 to 5 chapters. We have covered some of the chapters, and maybe chapter 5 we will discuss a little later, not today though. The second volume, chapter 6 to 9, so chapter 6 is today. So the first 5 chapters, 89 and 121 types of chittas, and then 52 mental states, and various thought processes in the course of one's lifetime and at rebirth, and 31 planes of existence and classification of karma. The second 4 chapters deal with Rupa, Nibbana, Paticca Samuppada, and Pathananaya, categories of good and evil, mental culture, path of purity, and great attainer. So I hope we will cover up these things and these couple of days, today and tomorrow. And yes, the sixth chapter is confined mainly to Rupa and Nibbana, and 28 species of Rupa are enumerated, and what they are, how they arise, and how they persist, and how they perish are also explained. Um, before going further, I also have to ask you, did you guys get the Quizlet link, and is everyone okay with the Quizlet link? Did you have a look at the Quizlet content?
I have looked at it. I will say that much.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot, but yeah, I haven't had a whole lot of time between work and everything to commit to a lot of studying of it. But yeah, it's
Okay.
all there.
I looked at it, but
Okay.
it seemed like some of the pronunciations were too fast, so
Oh,
you
really?
couldn't get them. And also, weren't there other Quizlets that were posted? Because I only have access to the most recent one. Or was it just one?
I think it is the whole Patana is already there. I shared it with you before too. And the other one is Rupa, 28 Rupas.
Yeah, Lee, if you go to the app on the home screen, you should see one that just says Abhidhamma class or under classes. And then if you click on that, you'll see the 28 rupas, selected Pali terms, and Patana class. Although the Patana class was uploaded in October of 2018. So, but yeah, you should see the 28 rupas and selected Pali terms.
You
Yeah,
think you think I should share it again today?
that would be a good idea, probably
Yeah.
for anyone who missed it before.
I loaded it on my phone, and the only thing that's on there now is selected poly terms, 53 terms.
Okay, maybe
Is that
I would like to ask Corey again.
Did you join the Abhidhamma class, or did you just click on the link for, yeah, let me see if I can't.
Okay, I'll go to the class. Corey, you can tell me how.
I'm going to be winging it because I don't know a whole bunch.
Okay,
You might want to, yeah.
hopefully. Can you see this?
Yes. So, yeah, under classes,
This is the Abhidhamma class.
up at the top where it says Abhidhamma class, yeah, click the little head with the button.
This one?
No, up top to the left too. One more to the left. Add members. Nope, add members. Click on that. See what happens there.
Invite?
No. Just hit the invite link. Yeah, hit copy and put that in Slack and see if that will help. Because it shows that there's 18 members in this class, but
yeah, but they are not all you. There are other people also.
Yeah. Let's see. Lee, does that give you the other two? Or does that give you both of them, the 28 rupas and selected poly terms now?
I guess, do I have to close out the app?
I shouldn't, but if you just click on the link from Slack.
Oh.
Because I can see it on my computer now.
Yeah, these are the two sets that we have. In fact, three. This one we are still working on.
They both show up now.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, Corey.
Yep.
Thanks, Monte.
So everyone is okay with that?
Yeah.
So the thing is, if you work, I can see that. Okay. So I can see your progress. Whether you have learned flashcards, write, spell, test, match, gravity, and all these things I can see.
I know I've gone through all the flashcards, so at least once.
Wait.
But it doesn't show me as completed it.
Is that your name, Corey, here?
Yeah, Corey M. Russell. It's third one.
Oh, yeah. How can I not see that?
Yeah, I've been through the flashcards also, and it doesn't show on mine.
What's your name?
Sherry Mellon. Right
Oh,
there towards the
yeah,
bottom, it doesn't show either.
yeah. I wonder why only one person is showing. Okay, that's fine anyway. So you keep working, and today actually I want to work with you this one a little later. And I think someone said pronunciation is too fast, like this. Mahabhut
Great elements.
Niphan.
It was in the
Concretely
actual,
produced.
it was
Yeah?
in the actual flashcards.
You mean in the actual flashcards?
It was in the 53 terms.
Oh, you mean the other one, other set, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this one, I hope this is little slower. I didn't uh, pronounce faster. Pathavi.
Extension or hardness.
Apo.
Cohesion or fluidity.
Vayo.
Motion or pushing and supporting.
Tejo.
Heat or hardness.
Pasada Rupa.
Internal.
Chakhu.
Eye element.
Sota.
Air element.
Ghana.
Nose element.
Juha.
Tongue element.
Kaya.
Body element.
Gochara Rupa.
Objective.
Vanna.
Visible.
Sadda.
Sound.
Gandha.
Smell.
Rasa.
Taste.
Pottabba.
Tangibility.
Itti.
Feminine.
Purisa.
Masculine.
Hadaya.
Mind base.
Hadayavattu.
Seat of the mind.
Jivitindriya.
Life faculty.
Oja.
Nutriment.
Aniphanna Rupa.
Abstract.
Akasadhatu.
Space phenomenon.
Vinyatti Rupa.
Communicating.
Kaya Vinyatti.
Communicating through body.
Vachi Vinyatti.
Communicating through word.
Vikara Rupa.
Mutable.
Lahuta.
Lightness.
Muduta.
Elasticity.
Kammanyata.
Wildness.
Lakkana Rupa.
Material qualities.
Upachaya.
Production.
Santati.
Continuity.
Jarata.
Decay.
Anichata.
Dissolving.
Okay. Is that clear? Okay, so we do have 38 terms here. You can everyone see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can go one by one and you can play with the flashcard and have and also then you can go to learn, and after this you can go to learn, and when you do the learn, so you can see what is the right word here. So after learning you will be able to recognize the right word. So if you say this is like upachaya, if this is wrong, and it will also give you a full feedback. So dissolving, the correct answer is anicchata. And lightness, so if you write hadaya and then again it will be wrong. If you say lightness, you will get correct answer. Communicating through word, and that is vachi vinyati. So you can keep going, working on that, uh, learning. And then write also will be useful. Ear element, you have to write the correct word here again. And then spell over here, you hear sad, and then you write. When you hear the sound, sad, you have to type sad like that. And yeah. Oja. Yeah, so you keep typing and entering. Anichata. Yeah, keep working on that. And then test will also be very useful. We have some written questions here and matching questions, multiple choice, and also give, we will work on this. Okay, I hope we will work today together. And this one also really um, will be very helpful. Like we have to match the right one, like juha with the tongue element like that, and material qualities, mahabhuta. So we have to put them, match these words together, and then there will be a timing. So if someone goes faster, you will also get a notification. And then gravity is another kind of game. We have here easy, medium, and hard. I recommend you start with easy, and then you can start and then type kammanyata. So you have to type uh, the meaning, and then you will get, then that will disappear. If not, it will show you. So like here. So until you do this one, you will not be able to go to the next word. So it's a very good practice. And actually, I want to do this one later, if possible. So that will be a live game with all of us. And as this is already, I know you have not studied, but I would still like to see if we can study after that. Maybe hopefully we can do that. Okay. Okay, right. Is anyone not familiar with Quizlet?
Kyle and I used it before the last final. It's a great little app. I'm not super familiar with it. I think Kyle
Okay.
set up all the poly terms for us last year, and it came in handy. We made it into a game as to like who could beat each other's score, so it makes it fun.
Yeah, it's really useful. I'm
I
sure you
forgot
will
about
also
that.
like it. I use for my Pali class, my other Pali classes, and other my Buddhism classes. I use that, and mostly the young people really use it, but it really makes you young when you play with it. You will, I'm sure you will enjoy that. Okay, and let me know, please, if that works. And okay. Just give me a second. I want to go to the PDF. think. Okay. So 28 species of rupa are enumerated here, and we will learn more about that. And then we will also have rupa. The is the third paramattha mentioned in Abhidhamma, and is one of the two composite factors of the so-called being, the other being nama. So nama and rupa, you are already, I think, more familiar with that. And then we also have 4 paramatthas: chitta, cetasika, rupa, nibbana, and 2 composite factors are nama and rupa. So paramattha, I think we will also discuss about, we have already discussed about that, those paramattha dhammas, but we will also touch base a little bit of this, what is paramattha and how those days in India, this particular word paramanu was used. It's really amazing. Something like atom, they also had their own version. That's pretty interesting. So rupa is derived from rup, or to break up, to perish. And also in Pali it is called nasati, and nasati, nasa is the root. And so that rupati is to change or to break. That comes, that is how we find the word, this word rupa. And over here we also have different types of rupa that we are going to discuss today, and hopefully we will get more familiar with these things. And rupa is derived from rup, to break up or perish. And according to Vibhavini Tika, the definition, rupa is that which transforms or assumes a different mode owing to the adverse physical conditions of cold, heat, etc. Sitonhadi virodhi pachayehi vikarang apajyati. So sita here means cold, unha is heat, adi, etc. Virodhi pachayehi, so different kinds of pachaya or conditions, adverse conditions. Vikarang apajyati means it changes, it transforms. Apajyati, it reaches a different change or different form. So vikarang apajyati means transforms. So rupa is that which transforms different modes. It changes to the adverse physical conditions of cold and heat. That is another way of definition, and different definitions are there. And in the Buddhist standpoint, rupa not only changes but also perishes. Kaya and vaya. Kaya or kina, we also know the word, if you have heard. Kina also means perished. Or kina also means changed or perished. Like kina asava, uh, perished, the one who has obliterated, uh, completely abolished all cankers, he is called Kihinasava. That is the Arahanta person, liberated one. Vaya means also something that perishes, something that is impermanent. Um, for example, vaya dhamma sankhara, all the conditioned things are subject to decay. So kaya and vaya, they are part of it. And it endures only for 17 thought moments, and rupa changes so rapidly that one cannot strike an identical place twice. That's really very interesting. I think many people know that in the movies sometimes um, they actually create so many frames um, before showing us the movement. If you analyze them, you will also see something like this Abhidhammic situation over there. So all those things, like if you take a circle, circle of fire, you will see a circle of fire. But if you take a stick or matchstick or something, or just any fire something, and then you quickly rotate, you can see the whole circle. But if you slowly do it, you will see the fire stick moving. And same thing here, it depends on the rapid change, rapid movement. So Rupa has the ability to kaya and vaya. And all of us right now, we are changing every millisecond. Every time we every time, every moment that we pass will be um, that will be subject to kaya and vaya. And every time we can see our body is subject to change. So that is our hair is growing, our skin is also changing, and many things are changing in our body so very fast, and we can't even see that. But the person who actually practices, for example, a serious meditation practitioner in deep samadhi, those people might probably see much better, and they can feel and sense much better than we ever think. And right now, you had the experience when you close your eyes, you could hear some sounds, right? Did you hear some sounds that you normally don't hear, like the ticking of the clock or something? And when you open your eyes, you don't normally see these things. But when you close your eyes, you can hear these things very easily. So if you keep meditating, and you can improve your clear audience, what do you call Dibba Sota. That way you can hear things that are much farther. It's a simple example is when we close our eyes, we can hear things that we normally don't hear, and also we can see things that we normally don't see through the walls and far away places. We can see, and also we can keep improving things. So even we can see the change of our rupa, the body. through practice. So the practitioner has more access to those things. This is like he is in a kind of spiritual laboratory. So Rupa is also explained as that which manifests itself, Rup or Pakasane. And so according to some scholars, it is generally rendered by the form, body, matter, corporeality, meaning differ according to the context. And one particular meaning is not universally applicable. So someone can say form, someone can say body or matter or corporeality or whatever. So for example, a person who practices, he can see things differently, like they can see the five aggregates of the body. And but normally what does happen, they normally uh, only when they want to switch channel, they can actually quickly switch channel and see the real people or see the real body, or else just if they want they can do it, otherwise they can just live like us. So they can also see people like that. And let's say now I see like you all with your names, and but the practitioners, that is called sammuti satya. Like if I say Cory or Pat or whatever, who these students, so we can see your name, and those practitioners can see differently, but they don't they see the form, just the form, and not necessarily the those different features, but they see the form, the elements. They can see the elements very easily. But then again, like when the Buddha was talking to Venerable Ananda, he would not call five aggregates, how are you, or something. He would rather call Venerable Ananda, or with Venerable Ananda when he wants to address, or Venerable Sariputta, let's say, when he wants to address Venerable Moggallana, they are both Chatupanti Sambhida Arahantamang. So they can also see those elements very easily. But they wouldn't call um, five aggregates or something. They would call, actually, they would also respect the Sammuti Satya, uh, the mundane truths or conventional truths. The absolute truth is what we call Paramatta Satya, and that they can see as well. So they feel it, they see it, they experience it, but they use it only when it is necessary. From philosophical standpoint, matter is the nearest equivalent for Rupa. So mind and matter, Nama Rupa, and although scientists do find it difficult to define matter. um, so this is the the atomic theory those days in India. I would like to pay your attention and also maybe um, give you some time to say something about that. Uh, Atom is called Paramanu, uh, ancient term for the modern atom. And one Ratha Renu consists of 30 Tajjaris. One Tajjari is 36 Anus, and one Anu is 36 Paramanus. Okay, so now you can see um, now you can see how they were also very knowledgeable about those microscopic things, although they didn't have those ultra modern technology the way we have, but they also had their own system. They somehow, maybe spiritually or whatever, they also had the knowledge about that, the wisdom about that. So one Ratha Renu consists of 36 tajjaris, and one tajjari is 36 anus, and one anu is 36 paramanus. So you can see them, um, the paramanu. And accordingly, the minute particles of dust seen dancing in the sunbeam are called Ratharenus. And one paramanu is therefore one out of 46,656 part of a Radharenu. So this paramanu was considered indivisible. I think I think the atom also can be broken today, right? So atom is maybe like we give the name atom or whatever as the last thing that we can break into. But those days they had something uh, like that. They also had very minute analytical um, wisdom about the matter. So that's really interesting. I would like to hear from you. Does anyone know about this subject? What is the last particle that we have in the matter?
A quark, or is it a string?
I think it's a quark, but it continues to evolve.
Anyone has done science?
The people that run the Hadron Collider say that they think they found a new particle that comes into existence and then disappears, but they haven't
Dr.
confirmed
Beth,
it.
have you heard about this before?
So I am a firm believer that there is infinite largeness as well as infinite smallness. So we will continue to find smaller and smaller elements, but so there's already been theories of time travel through all that, because like when electrons migrate from s orbital to p orbital, they'll coexist in the same spot at the same time. So they've proven that, that in theoretical physics. I have a friend who is really big into theoretical physics, but right now I think the smallest element is a quark that they've discovered and been able to label. But
can you please type that word?
Yeah. Helps if I put it in the right window.
Okay. So that is the last one that we have, the last particle.
Yeah, everything else right now is getting into theories. There's no solid proof, but yeah.
There is also a scientific formula, right? You can translate the matter into energy. So this is, I think, what the great arahants also can do. When you want to disappear, you can disappear, and when you want to appear somewhere else, you just think, okay, I want to go to heaven. You just think, and in a matter of matter of second, they can actually be born or appear there. Like that's how they do. I just feel that's how they do. That's my personal perspective. I think they what do you call, translate the matter into energy, and energy can maybe go much faster than matter. So, any other thoughts? So the mind business, is really much more stronger and much more powerful than we ever think. Everything is mind made, right? All those huge structures that the man create all started in the mind. So that always happens with the mind. It's very important that we remember that mind is uh, the first, and mind made are they. So mind is really an amazingly powerful thing. uh, just wanted to pay attention to that. Those days in India, maybe even other countries, they must have had already, like we already know in Greek, those great philosophers, they also had shared wisdom, and they were continuously experimenting things, right? So in the Buddha's supernormal power, he actually um, he had that. He analyzed the so-called paramanu and declared that it consists of paramattas, or ultimate entities, which cannot be further subdivided. So the paramattas, do you know the paramattas now? In Abhidhamma, how many paramattas are there? If you go to more details, yeah, this is, so we have 4 paramattas, right? And the elemental, uh, so the atomic theory uh, and this paramatta, these are the paramattas: Pathavi, Apo, Tejo, and Vayo. I tried to find a better picture here. Um, this is the Pathavi, and this is Apo, and this is Tejo, and this is Vayu. Just try to find um, something that is more feasible here. But not necessarily this whole thing. If you say Pathavi is just the earth, it's not really only the earth. You should not understand that these elements are earth, water, fire, and air. But it is much more than that. In fact, let's say, like when we say Pathavi, of course the dominant quality is earth, but all the other elements are also there. When we say um, like water, like Apo, water element, or the liquidity is there, but then again, all the other elements are also there in it. So it's really interesting to know about this. And the fire, even in the fire, they are all very, very powerful things. When something happens with the earth, earth is so strong, so powerful, so magnanimous. Anything, such powerful energy is there. We already know about the water. When tsunami happens, when torrential showers uh, can happen, such a destructive force it can be, such powerful things. And then the fire, we already have experience about the fire, especially we know in California all the time fire. And last year, I think last year, couple of years ago, right, in Amazon, the forest fire, in Australia, the fire, so much distraction, and it's really scary and very, very powerful thing. And the air again can also be really very powerful. Anything could happen, like twister or tornado. You already must have experienced it yourself. So there are these four very powerful things are there in ourselves, in our own body. We can see that. So the ancient practitioners, ancient people who were actually trying to balance them, trying to manage them with those powers, and they were not kind of disturbing that smooth functioning or the balance of that, inside and outside both. And sometimes in the modern world, we hear that some underwater experiments, maybe atomic bombs or some explosions takes place, and even that could lead to uh, the disturbance of the nature. Then maybe the nature can react very aggressively. The fire, water, air, earth, they are all part of these things. If you disturb them, they will be very aggressive too. So they are the dominant qualities of Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, earth, water, fire, and air. We'll discuss more about that. And so Patavi, for example, um, element of extension and the substratum of matter. And without this Patavi element, um, the objects cannot occupy the space. So Patavi, when you have the Patavi element, that extension thing, it's not only the, the hardness, but also the softness. And that's very interesting. Conditions of this particular element. And so dominant quality is definitely hardness and toughness. But in the Patavi, they also have the other qualities. And earth, water, fire, air, they are all there. So here, for example, did I miss that? In the water above is supported by water below. It is this element that of extension in conjunction with the element of motion that produces the upward pressure. Heat or cold is the tejo element, while fluidity is the apo element. So these are common elements, but they all work together. So extension, element of extension and element of cohesion, mostly they work together. And but Patavi also is something tangible. You can touch it. You can see that. Um, Compared to that Apo element, the cohesion thing is intangible. Of course, you can see, you can touch water, right? You will think, oh, we can touch the water, but we can touch water because of its earth element, Patavi element. And so it also makes scattered particles of matter cohere and combine together. So it makes a kind of body. And in our body, we also have all these qualities. Patavi, can someone give me an example of Patavi element in the body? For example, okay, so the Patavi element in the body uh, is something like teeth, hair, what else?
Skin, muscle,
Bone,
bones.
what else in your body?
Do you
Muscle,
consider muscles as a
right?
element
All
too?
those thick things, hard things. Um, we say as Patavi. Um, I remember when we were becoming monks, we had to shave our head, and then we get the first bunch of hair into our hand, and we have to meditate. Kesa, kesa, kesa. Kesa means hair. Uh, so that's Patavi. That's a meditation too. So while the other senior monk shaves our head, we say Kesa, Kesa, Kesa. And so the other 32 objects are also there, like Loma, Naka, Danta. Naka is this one, what do you call, nail? That is also Patavi. So many things in our body, we have Patavi too. And what are the other, like Tejo, Apo? We have Apo quality too, right? When you are sad, you cry. So the Apo Tejo, Apo element is more visible. And it's very important that we have Apo element in our body. Otherwise, we cannot, um, digest the food, so many things. And inside the body, we have blood, which is Apo quality, and all the many things, in the body goes up and down. So they are part of the Apo. Uh, did you say something, Sherry? Oh, wait.
You're muted.
No, I was just talking to my daughter. She's up.
Okay. Okay. So the other thing is Tejo. Tejo quality. What is Tejo, or the heat? Um, Heat quality in our body. If you have fever, that is the heat. And it is said in Dhammapada, I remember there is one stanza that says, Ayu usmacha vinyanang yada kayang jahantimang apaviddo tada seti nirathangva kalingarang. So this body, when the life span is gone, and usma means the heat, when the body doesn't have heat, and vinyana, the consciousness, when the consciousness is not there. And so ayu usmacha vinyanang yada kayang jahantimang, when these three things leave the body will fall on the ground just like a stick, the dry stick that won't be able to stand still, stand tall, you know. Apaviddo tada seti nirathangva kalingarang. So the heat element is really very important. And if you don't have heat, you will die. your body will start having the heat from the very moment of your life origin, and until the very end of your life you have the heat element in you. And heat element also is really really important for digesting our food. Very important, all these things. And vayo element, what is vayo? The air, right? We breathe. That is definitely vayo, right? And uh, it is said in some of the suttas, uddhangama vayu means the vayu, the air that pushes up, things pushing up, that is uddhangama vayu. Adhogama vayu means some pushes down. So our body has many tracks, like super highways, we have freeways, we have carpools in our body. We have also local surface roads. Everything is there inside the body. So some really are very fast. And so all these fast tracking things, you have to take some nutrients, maybe some things from one place to another. Thus that bio element is really important. um, Inside our tummy also we have bio element. So whenever there is some space, we also have bio element. Like when you close your nose, what will happen? You won't be able to breathe, but your mouth will also be there. And then it is said the Buddha was practicing one time, he was practicing Appanaka Jhana. That's like he stopped breathing. So what you do is you close your nose and the mouth, then you can breathe, and then the breath will actually start coming from here. uh, and then he stopped that also. Then he felt like his head is going to explode, and that is called Appanaka Jhana. That he was undergoing those penances in the first 6 years. He was trying his best, experimenting many things, how to get liberation. um, so those have been practiced by the ancient practitioners. That's amazing. So let's go back to the slide. I so this okay. I think I had to remove this. Now it's fine. Okay. So that's about Apo element. So you can see Patavi extension and Apo is cohesion. Those are the main functions. And then Tejo, element of heat. And yes, element of heat, but also element of cold. So one part of the coin is cold and the other is heat. They are both part of Tejo. So they possess the power of maturing bodies, and also really important, vitalizing energy. Fire is really important in the human history also. Man was very successful. He had a really good um, breaking point when they started working with the fire, and that changes the human history ever since. So fire is the vitalizing energy, and it really can make things generate many things. And also preservation and decay are also due to this element. So we know, like if we have fire element, if we have fire element, we have the body warm. And if we go to a cold area, or if certain people are there in the cold countries, so their body is adjusted to that. And some people in the mm, like dry zone areas, like Asia or Africa, some people, their body is really very easily adjusting to that element. So they balance the fire element. And unlike the other three essentials of matter, this element has the power to regenerate matter by itself. So that's another thing. The fire element has the power to regenerate matter. And Vayo, inseparably connected with heat. Again, Vayo and Tejo, they work together. And element of motion, and movements are caused by this element, as we discussed. Inside the body, we know how movements are caused. Uddhangama, Adhogama, and all those uh, elements are there in our body. Like sometime when we eat food, we need the Vayu element, we need the Tejo element. All these elements are really important. Apo element also is really important. Motion is regarded as the force or the generator of the heat. So you can see the fire always will be very pretty active when the Vayu element is there. The wind, with the wind force, Vayu element can, the Tejo element can be also very active. So motion and heat in the material realm correspond respectively to consciousness and karma in the mental. You can see now that also affects us here. Um, so people also have different characters, right? Characteristics, we can say, different tendencies, temperament of people. Some people have more tejo element in them. Some people have more like cool sensation, like some like little bit aggressive. Some people prefer different kinds of food. All these things actually are part of our life too. So depending on that, our body system also differs. And I think even in astrology, they talk about those things, at least to a greater extent. They talk about the planet, and they talk about how when some people, all of us are born at a particular time, and they can predict things which is uh, kind of amazing. I'm not a big fan of astrology, but amazing the way they predict things. Okay, so these four things, they are coexisting, they are inseparable, but mostly they preponderate over the other. Like when we talk about Pathavi, earth element is more dominant. And when we talk about Apo, water element is more dominant. When we talk about Tejo, the fire element is more dominant. And Vayu is earth element, or air element is more uh, dominant. So that's why we normally say Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu when we say earth, water, fire, and air. But we need to remember all the other elements are also there in all these elements. So okay, so these are also called Mahabhutas. Hmm. Mahabhutas or great essentials, because they are invariably found in all material substances, ranging from the infinitesimally small cell to the most massive object. And all these Mahabhutas are there in every single cell, every massive object. So one time, Venerable Moggallana, he said he want to see the end of the world. He actually uh, um, he was foremost among the supernatural powers. Uh, Apart from the Buddha, Venerable Moggallana was a very powerful person. He could go through the walls, he could walk in the water, he could fly in the air, he could touch the sun and the moon, or with all those mystic powers he had. And it is said he also had the opportunity to interview spirits and the heavenly beings, and he could report back to the people. And so Venerable Moggallana one day wanted to see the end of the world, because he also thought, okay, I'm pretty powerful person. I'm like, I want to see the end of the world. And so he went from one galaxy to another and one planet to another, and he kept doing it. And then the Buddha said, stop doing that. You do it until the end of your life, you won't be able to finish it. you know so the Buddha said, instead of doing that, all of us should uh, introspect, look into ourselves. And look into yourself, you will see all these things. The whole world is you. The entire world is you. All what you see in the world outside is also there inside you. Why? Because those four elements are there in you. Pathavi element is there, Apo element is there, Tejo element is there, and Vayo element is there. Therefore, you don't need to look outside. Just look into yourself, and there you can see. That's why the Buddha also said, um, within the imasming eva vyama mattake kalebare dukkhancha panyapemi, dukkha samudayancha panyapemi, dukkha nirodhancha panyapemi, dukkha nirodha gamini patipadancha panyapemi. Within this body, like maybe 1.5 meter or whatever, this within this body, I can see the suffering, the truth of suffering, and the cause of suffering, and the cessation of suffering, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering. So rather than trying to look for happiness outside, the Buddha said, look into yourself. You see the liberation, you see the happiness, you see the peace, everything inside, within yourself. So it's very easy if you look into yourself. That is why it is called vipassana. Okay, vipassana means insight meditation, right? Vipassana means look into yourself, so because you see that inside. But many people think, okay, they go to a movie theater, they can see happiness. Yes, you can see happiness, but it's very very temporary, right? And then you can go to a beach, you can see happiness. You can go to a faraway country, beautiful forest or mountain, or many things. You try to see happiness in many ways, like hiking or many, many ways. Also sports, festivals, games, all these things, people try to see happiness, but really very, very minimal and very simple. But the kind of happiness that you can see gain if you look into yourself is really, really, really immeasurable. It's beyond expression. And do you know how much we can survive when we eat food? Mostly people with the food, we can survive for a while, right? um,
Yeah, I think it's like 3 weeks.
3 weeks without food?
Yeah, or 14 days or something. It's pretty high up there.
Really? Like uh, some, I watched some documentaries about plane crashes and some people lost in the wilderness, some forests or some desert, and also in the jungles, snow. People survive. Amazing. They find somehow, no water, no fire, no nothing, but they still no food. They still with the sheer willpower, they also survive. And I was really thinking if they had some knowledge of mm, some meditation, maybe they could survive more. They could definitely survive more because you don't panic then. The minute you panic, you can't survive much longer. Like let's say, like you are in the water, maybe in the sea, and or in wherever you are. You if you panic, what happens? You will die faster. If you don't panic, you will also die maybe later, but you will survive more longer, and you will die like without much worry or problem. So panicking will really disturb. So meditation can help. People who eat, like we eat food, like what we call, later on we will discuss about that, kabalinkarahara. Like we eat food, those foods are like we break them into pieces, and that's the kind of food we eat. So Corey, maybe you know it better. Like, what is the longest surviving animal? Anyone in the world? Who is
Uh,
the
Off the top of my head, I'm going to say it's probably a tortoise.
tortoise? Yeah. How long do they survive?
150 to 200 years, maybe.
Yeah, maybe 200-300.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they can survive more, right? Um, like we humans can survive like 100 years, more or less. And even elephants, do you know, like they can live like 70-80 years. Uh, Crocodiles can live longer too, right?
What if you think about trees? Some trees live.
Trees
Right.
live amazing.
Yeah.
um, um, One of the professors went to Sequoia National Park here. He posted a photo of that tree, longest surviving tree, something. In Sri Lanka, we have this one, Bodhi tree. And we also uh, we also claim that it is the longest surviving tree of worship. Uh, so the Bodhi tree came to Sri Lanka in 327 BC, and it is still there. It's quite amazing how people were taking care of it, worshipping it, respecting it, and you feel that energy there. I was actually teaching in a university just 5 minutes away from that Bodhi tree. in the ancient capital of Sri Lanka. And so that Bodhi tree is on the top of the a place, and no, not everyone can reach there. One day I had the good fortune to visit that place, and when I went there, I feel goosebump right away. It's amazingly powerful energy is there. Even in Buddha Gaya, if you go to the Bodhi tree, those ancient trees are really very powerful. I think they also can, if they can talk, they can talk about the histories, right? So what I mean to say is like those animals and beings who eat kabalinkara ahara, they cannot live so long. You know, their lifespan is not so long. But those who live on the basis of happiness can live much longer. For example, the celestial beings, you know, celestial beings, the heavenly beings, devas, they can live much longer. And it is said there are 6 deva realms, and the one closest to the earth is called 4 guardian angels, and their one day is 50 years in the human realm. One day is 50 years there. I mean, one day there is 50 years here. And the next one is then Tavatinsa Yamatisita Paranimita Vasavati. It goes on to the next realms. And so their lifespan is more longer. And so 100 years is equal to one day there. And that is also why I think the Buddha went to um, the heavenly realm to preach the Abhidhamma after 7 years uh, to his mother, because he had to teach the entire Abhidhamma without any uh, any difficulty. So all the devas could, just a few minutes for them, or maybe not even half an hour for them. uh, so they can live much longer. Those heavenly beings, and it is said in the Brahma realm even more longer. Like they are born in the Brahma realm after the jhanas. So if someone has achieved the jhana, with that jhana, if that person passes away, he or she can live much longer there in the Brahma realm. So it's really longer. Like it is said, they see the world system appears and disappears. They see that the world system or the earth appears and suddenly disappears, and the great ocean appears and disappears. They see all the big mountains appears and disappears, not once, but not twice, but many times, multiple times. So what happens to them? They think, oh, everything is changing, but I am still surviving. So maybe I am permanent. They also can have that kind of a notion in them, and but they are also not permanent. They will also die. They will also die. So the Brahma realm is said to have more longer lifespan. What I mean to say is their life um, span is longer because of the happiness. That happiness is much more powerful than the food we eat. So the people, like the humans, we eat food, and our lifespan is very small, very little. We think, oh, we live longer time. No, we don't live so longer. we live very little time compared to those things and those other species. Oh yeah, what is this jellyfish? Anyone knows about jellyfish? Jellyfish?
Yeah, they just keep repeating their life cycle. So maybe they are immortal.
Really?
Yeah, they get to a certain age and it just starts all over again.
Really? That's
Sounds
interesting.
familiar, right?
Okay.
Is it
But
possible to
actually,
is it possible to take a break?
oh yes, yes. We'll take a break.
Okay.
10 minutes?
All right.
Any questions so far? Started we stopped with jellyfish.
So the word, it's pronounced Chetasika, not
Yes.
Chetasika.
Chetasika.
Chetasikas. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you.
In the Quizlet, I removed the capitals and the diacritics. So it's if you, because that is case sensitive, uh, when we practice we have to put everything. So I removed all those capitals and diacritics, so it's a little different, but the pronunciation is also there, so you will find it useful. Okay. So these are called Mahabhutas, that is the four great essentials. Pathavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, that is earth, water, air, and fire. So earth, water, fire, and air. They are also called Mahabhutas. And subsidiary material qualities are also called four subsidiary qualities. Vanna, Gandha, Rasa, Oja. Color, smell, taste, and nutritive essence. So these 8 things, one is the Mahabhutas, the other is this Upadaya Rupa. Okay, they are called Upadaya Rupa. They actually coexist, and these coexisting forces and qualities constitute one material group called Suddhattaka Rupa Kalapa, or pure octet, or material group. So this one we need to remember, I think here. These are the Suddhattaka Rupa Kalapa. Pathavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, they are the Mahabhutas. And then Vanna, Gandha, Rasa, Oja, they are the Upadaya Rupas. Color, smell, taste, and nutritive essence. So if we see everyone, like we all are different from each other, like we have different identities, but we all have the same thing too. Like in the common sense, we have Pathavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Vanna, Gandha, Rasa, Oja. Earth, water, fire, air, color, smell, taste, and nutritive essence. These are the same things that we all have. And whether we are Asians or Africans or Americans we are from different cultural groups, tribal groups, or different communities, different language groups. Some people short, some people long, some people all different. So many varieties are there with us, but all of us have these Suddhataka Rupa Kalapa or pure octet material group. So in that sense, we are all same. And the 20, so we have 28, and out of the 28 we discuss about this, and then the 20 other kinds of rupa are also equally important. uh, we will discuss more about that too. So physical life principle, or what we call rupa jivitindriya, and the other one is uh, gender or sex, that is bhava, itti bhava, purisa bhava. They are conditioned by karma. So physical life principle and this rupa jivitindriya or itti bhava, purisa bhava, conditioned by karma. So life in inorganic matter and life in animate beings, they all have these two things. And rupas arise in four ways. One is the karma, the other is the mind, the other is the seasonal phenomena, and then the food. So karma and mind is chitta, seasonal phenomena is utu, and food is ahara. So kamma, chitta, utu, and ahara. These are the four ways that are used in um, creating rupa. Just for example, um, we all have our rupa uh, due to our karma, but we all can have the rupa maybe due to our mind also. We can also think in mind and think of some rupa. With closed eyes we can contemplate on one rupa that we have seen before. That can be in our mind. And everything also we judge. When we judge, we see it is black and white, or whatever, good and bad, pleasant and unpleasant, or we just have that mental picture also. So that way it can also be mind. And seasonal phenomena, like people have utu, like people in European countries, so like cold weather, countries with cold weather, they have different skin color, and their hair color also is different. And people in some other countries, like more um, warm weather countries, they have different skin color. So that is also that is not really karma, that is the seasonal phenomena. And that's another way of rupa, how they arise, how the rupa arise there. And the food can also be very instrumental in um, arising food, arising rupa. Um, like when we have some food, we feel burning sensation, right? And when we have some food, we have cool sensation. And so that is part of the food. Food actually play a very major role in our rupa too. So karma chitta, and utu and ahara. These are the 4 things that we need to remember when we talk about the food, I mean the rupa, rising of rupa. And accumulated karmic tendencies. This is another topic that we need to remember, like old karma, new karma. We all have karma, so they play a greater role sometimes than the hereditary parental cells and genes. Let's say like very beautiful young couple, they have some somehow they have a handicapped child, or very healthy people can have very sick children, or maybe very intelligent couple can have some, you never know, it can happen to, like children with um, less mental capacity. All these things actually are part of the karmic tendencies and not the part of the genes and parental cells. And that way we can see karmic tendencies also play a very important role. What do you think?
I think
What?
it's very interesting, and it's a great statement because in Western science there's that nature nurture thing. How much comes from genetics and how much comes from experience in life, but no matter how much you put nature and nurture together, you never explain the person. And so this is like a really important missing piece. I like that part. That's all.
I think it's interesting to look at how parents can have different children, and the children will behave just, they come up with their own behaviors. It might not be based on the environment, but they'll just be their own person, and there's no explaining it. And that's where I think I understand this could come in. They're bringing in their past karma, and that's driving them to behave in a certain way and perceive the world in a certain way. So I find it very interesting to look at it that way. With like, if a parent has 6 different children, they all are their own person without anything prompting them to be different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that effect too, Jeff. It's interesting because there's been case studies on like twins separated at birth, and they have the exact same genetics and they end up being totally different. Then you could say, oh, it's like nurture, but there have also been cases of twins who are raised by the same family, so they have the same genetic disposition and they're raised the same, so they have the same nature and nurture, and they still end up being, totally different people. Like that can happen. So that always makes me think of like the karma as well.
I also noticed that the children, sometimes they don't really look like their parents. You will feel like, whoa, are they really family? But I was wondering, why is that the heat has something to do with the karma?
Heat.
Mm.
Like what?
Because in previous slides, you showed that motion and heat that were tied to the karma,
It was
respectively.
Air. It was air, Vio.
Oh, no, it also has a heat, isn't it?
Right. But they were saying that the air is related to the heat, like consciousness is related to karma.
Oh.
So it's not saying they're the same thing, but it's like a similar relationship there, which was a really interesting point that you bring back. I thought that was interesting, you know, kind of goes back to nibbana as extinguish, you know, karma's like the fire that takes the consciousness and turns it into a manifestation.
Oh, so it's just an illustration.
Yeah. I thought that was a cool slide.
So karma can also lead us to many of these ups and downs, right? Sometimes you are born in a better country, uh, like with better weather, right? Karma can play a bigger role there too. Sometimes, do you know, the karma can come to you as a child, maybe a bad karma or a good karma, um, can come to you as a child, can come to you as a husband, wife, even parent.
Oh,
It can make you so happy. It can benefit you so much, and also it can torture you so much. Um, you can really get rid of it. You have to suffer. Maybe you also have so much, like some children are born to some parents, everything goes so smoothly for them. Everything, like, that's like a blessing to those parents. Um, that's your karma. Right? Because when you have a child, you always have to live with that. Actually, the main thing is, yes, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's good, but you have to accept it, the karma.
When you say karma can come to you as a child, do you mean at birth or later?
No, later. I mean, some children can cause a lot of troubles to parents, right?
Oh, okay.
Sometimes some children are so wonderful, they can always make the parents so happy and proud. But let's say, like, you have children, like maybe 5 children in your family, all of them are not the same. Maybe 4 children are so wonderful, very good, well behaved, and studying very well, everything, and then suddenly one child becomes a drug addict or goes do all the wrong things in the world, you know. So that can also happen. uh, it's very hard. um, we meet many parents complaining about some children, and sometimes it's very hard for them also to live with it, but they have to do that. My suggestion was to them, actually, in many cases, like, parents suffer so much because of the children. They worry about the children, and they say they don't listen to them, or they are not loyal to them, or they do all the wrong things, and they really suffer, the parents, especially mothers. They really suffer. I think my advice to them is, you do your best. You give them guidance. You bless them. You make you show them the path. You do everything for them. But despite all of these things, if they don't do well, you have to live with it. You have to make sure that your limit, they are all different sansaric beings. Sometimes those children come to you, maybe because of your good nature, they can be benefited. Sometimes it might not happen the same as you think. So you have to be, um, you have to know including yourself, you cannot control. Your mind, you cannot control. Things can happen. So we can control the other. Children can go their own way. No matter how much you try, they can go their own way. They also need to have the good karma maybe. Maybe they don't have enough good karma, to be in the right track. It can happen. So if one child is good or bad, it doesn't matter. You be kind and compassionate and do your best to help them. And if they don't do well behave or whatever, then you also should not worry too much. Because that's you will worry, but you have to think philosophically. I mean, theoretically, if you think they are all separate sansaric beings, we can control them. They do their own way. That's the thing.
For Chinese, we have a saying that when a child comes to visit family, this child will either come as a debt collector or returning the favors.
Yeah.
Either or.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when the parents know this very well, then you know, well, this one came to collect the debt, then just let it collect. Don't complain.
Yeah. I know there is one mother who used to complain about her daughter. Um, she says she is a troublemaker, always causing, asking many questions and many asking this and that. I said, yes, that's you try your best to help her, and you cannot really do whatever you cannot project your child the way you want. Maybe both the parents are doctors, but the child can become a very naughty, maybe uh, somebody like that. Can't really expect everything to be perfect, and they will not come the way you want. They will not become the way you want. If it happens, that is also very good. But having said that, karma is not the whole everything. It is not be all and be all and end all. We also have the capacity to change the karma. That's also very important for us to remember. Karma, we will discuss more about that actually. Karma, I think last time also we had that discussion. We were talking about that. Karma is just one of those factors that can determine the thing. But apart from that, Kamma niyama, bija niyama, chitta niyama, utu niyama, and dhamma niyama, there are 4 more niyama dhammas. So karma is just one thing. And karma also we should be able to change. Let us say, like you think positively all the time, and your negativity will be gone, and you will not allow any bad condition to come to your mind. And so you try to keep your mind in positive frame of positive frame, and you will be able to eliminate some of the bad karmas, and you will not allow those karmas to find a condition in you. And some karmas, they will come try to peep into you, and those bad karmas will not find a condition to settle in you, and then they will bounce back, and some of those karmas will never return. So much the better. So if you keep having these positive thoughts, positive attitudes, the negative karma will be gone. Many of the those negative karmas will be gone. You know, the best example is Angulimala. You know, the story of Angulimala, who killed many, and he had the condition after enlightenment, after arahanthood, he did not have any of those negativity afterwards. So all the conditions were very good, and until the end of his life, he had towards the end of his life, he had a good karma. So all the people who, sometimes people can do mistakes in their lives, sometimes they can do wrong things, they always have the capacity to come back and do good. Okay, so let's talk about the Buddha. uh, you know, the Buddha also had karma. Over here, we can see he inherited the reproductive cells and genes from his parents. So his maybe some features look like his parents, but physically non-comparable to him in his long line of honorable ancestors. Some of those features were completely of his own due to his own karma. And one time he was going for alms round in Kapilavattu when he visited Kapilavattu, and then King Suddhodana was very unhappy about that. How can you go begging for food? You are from a royal family. You should have a lavish food here at the royal palace, he said. And the Buddha said, I belong to the Buddha family, not the royal family. So this is my tradition. You know, my tradition is to go for alms round. So he had those definitely super superhuman qualities, extraordinary creation because of his own karma, right? So every one of us has. He too had these things. And especially when we talk about the 10 paramitas. So these are the 10 paramitas, the perfection of giving, dana paramita, and perfection of virtue, sila paramita, perfection of renunciation, nekkhamma paramita, perfection of energy, virya paramita, perfection of patience, khanti paramita, and perfection of truthfulness, satya paramita, perfection of determination, aditthana paramita, perfection of loving kindness, metta paramita, perfection of equanimity, upekha paramita, perfection of wisdom, panya paramita. They are all paramita, fulfillments, perfections. He fulfilled these things in his samsara. And for example, dana, these perfections are again further divided into paramita, upaparamita, and paramartha paramita. So let's say like you give something, you donate something, something belong to you, maybe some material thing, that is a dana paramita. But dana upaparamita means like you donating your organs, you know, organ donating is upaparamita. Sometimes life donating too, sacrificing your own life for the benefit of others. That is out of sheer compassion and generosity. That is the ultimate. So all these paramitas can be divided into 3, that means 3 by 10, 30 paramitas. So it is said the Buddha was in his bodhisattva age time, he was fulfilling those paramitas. So dana is the generosity, That is the very first thing that all in Buddhist practices they talk about. By practicing generosity, you can actually attack the attachment. You can also attack the jealousy, anger, ill will, ignorance, and all these things. So dana is really important thing. And also it's easier to practice dana compared to other things. When you give something, you feel so happy. That happiness you cannot purchase in the market. That is something really very, very special. When you feel so happy when you give something to someone, that is the kind of happiness, um, very pure heart. So it is said when you offer something, you have to get rid of lobha, that is greed, and dosa, that is ill will, and moha, that is ignorance. So when you practice dana, you suppress these things. At least momentarily, you suppress these things. And that way, they keep practicing. And in Buddha's, in Jataka's tales, if you remember, there are some Jataka tales where the Bodhisattva was sacrificing his own life. One time he was sacrificing himself to a hungry leopardess, because she wanted to feed her cubs. So the Bodhisattva sacrificed his life, it is said. And one time, the king of God, the Sakka, he was also testing the Bodhisattva. One day he came as a monster, and then Bodhisattva was searching for Dhamma. He wanted to listen to the Dhamma. He was going everywhere trying to listen to the Dhamma. It is said, and sometimes you don't find this word, even the word Dhamma is not there in the world. And nowadays we have it available, online, and a lot of resources are there. But sometimes you might not be able to see that. Any resource, all the world is full of bad things. And that time he was searching for Dhamma. He could not hear any good thing. And then in the jungle, he met a monster, a demon. Um, and then he said, um, like in their discussion, the demon says, I want to, I can teach you some Dhamma, but you have to sacrifice. I want to eat you. So the Bodhisattva agreed, okay, I'm happy to do that. So how do we do that both? So you climb up to a rock, and from there you jump, and in between I will preach you the Dhamma. That was the agreement. He even agreed to that. Can you imagine? He was so desperate to listen to the Dhamma, and it is said. So he was jumping, and in between it is said he was saying a few words, and then when he jumped, uh, the the monster in disguise was the god Sakka. He actually changed his shape. He showed himself as the god, and then he preached Dhamma to the Bodhisattva. So there are, like, his intention was to sacrifice. He was all ready for that. And in sometimes what's there's another Jataka tale where he offered his own children and his wife. He gave away sacrifice. That's not a wrong intention that time, but when let it go, you let it go. That's also part of Upaparamita. So paramita, upaparamita, and paramatta paramita are all part of it. And I want to see this one, like the truthfulness, satya paramita. It is said during his entire paramita period, he has never ever told a lie. He was always truthful. And it is said in his final birth, even when he talks, his mouth was emanating the what do you call, like the lotus flower, you know, uh, the smell of the lotus was emanating from his mouth, it is said. And his truthfulness was very, very important. And also he, if you remember, like there was a battle between Mara and the Buddha, and it was actually a mental battle, of course. And then he was touching the ground. He was touching the ground, and in witness, he would say, I have practiced all my sansara um, with truthfulness. So the earth was witnessing that, it is said. So all these things are really important practices for all of us. Do you think you have some of these paramitas in you? What is more preferable to you out of this?
Loving kindness.
Okay. Loving kindness to what?
To everyone in under all conditions.
Oh, wonderful.
Not that I have that, but that's, you know, a nice solid practice.
Okay.
To bring forth. That helps you from getting mad at people.
Yes, definitely.
Someone cuts you off in traffic. Oh, they must be in a hurry. There's a reason for that.
Very cool. If you can think of that way, I think that's really very, very positive way of thinking.
See, I've always tried to figure out, like, patience and loving kindness kind of go hand in hand a lot of times.
And loving kindness, yeah. Khanti. Yeah. It says patience has no limit, right? So loving kindness also is immeasurable.
It seems like if you pick one of them, then everything else will develop alongside it.
That's right.
So
very true. Even the dana, you know, if you practice generosity, loving kindness, patience, all things will be there.
Yes. I let the guy cut me off in traffic. Being generous. You need this space in front of me? Go ahead.
Generosity of the space.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to call, I really like to call that traffic light meditation. Whenever we see the red light, those few seconds will be meditation, traffic light meditation. No hurry, no rush, no acceleration. Calm down. Good time for you to relax. It's very true. Like when you drive, I've seen a lot of people like they are very restless. They were blaming the government. They would blame the other people. How do they drive like this? And you know, and for some people, okay, you are in a hurry, you go. You know, so they are really good. These are really good practices. It doesn't happen to you overnight. You really need to make an effort. Yeah, it can be um, your loving kindness meditation. uh, you know, the moms make food and that is so delicious to every child. I think almost 100%. Maybe there are some exceptional cases, but the mom's food is the best food in the world. Why is it so? Because they have the menu. They have those ingredients that we don't have it in those five-star hotels. That is the loving kindness. Right, that ingredient is more in the mother. When she cooks, she always thinks of the children. May my children be well, happy, healthy by eating this. That is an amazing chemistry when you do that, when you cook with that loving kindness. So whenever you do that, you also can try. Sometimes we offer tea to people, so they feel also very good. So when we prepare the tea, those we do it with wholeheartedness, like very happy and loving kindness to people. And whenever you do that, it becomes very tasty. Same thing with the mother's food. So everything you do, you have that special extra something that makes so much different to other people.
Bante, I have a question on this. Is there a reason why this is listed in this order?
Yes, because dana is, as I said, is way easier than many other things. Dana is a better way to start, especially in the Asian countries, I think. Their practice of generosity is amazing. Amazing. They practice generosity. I'm sure it is there in the Western part of the world too. But I know, like, for example, Buddhism is concerned, in the Western part of the world, they like more meditation than dana. And in the Asian part, I think my overview is they like generosity or dana than meditation. So eventually they should do both. I think if the Western people like meditation, let them do it. And eventually they will come to dana too. Because that's how you start with, right? Um, I think the sila is next. Sila is also important part of our life. Our spiritual journey starts with sila. Always the foundation of the spiritual journey is sila. And nekkhamma is renunciation, giving up, letting go is not easy. Letting go is so difficult. But when you have dana already, when you have sila already, letting go becomes little easier, right? And then virya, you need to make an energy, make an effort. Virya is more of an effort, I would like to say. And khanti is patience, and truthfulness is amazing practice. And there are some people who try their best uh, not to tell lies. And some people say, I don't know how to avoid telling lies. So there is a beautiful practice in Buddhism, what we call noble silence. If you think, oh, I have to say a lie, yeah, don't tell lies, just keep quiet. So that you don't tell lies. So practice of truthfulness is the amazingly powerful thing. And adhitthana, determination, whatever you do in your life, you make an effort. This actually virya and adhitthana, they also go together mostly. loving kindness, and upekka, like equanimity. Again, they come in the hierarchy, in the ladder you can see, and the final is wisdom. They all lead to wisdom eventually. Okay. Then we see the Buddha, it is said he had 32 marks, major marks, as a result of his fast, meritorious activities. We see some people, when we see them, like there are some people who really very attractive people, very pleasant, like maybe some Hollywood actors and actresses. When you see them, you really want to take a selfie with them. You really want to get their autograph. And why do you think it happens? Because of their good karma, right? You see them, you really like, some people when they come out, they have to really, it's very difficult to get rid of those paparazzis. The fans will, they will be surrounded by hundreds and thousands of fans. And I know when I was in India, there were some actors who would go to some public places in disguise, like maybe some wigs or something. Otherwise, they can't, go for shopping or something. It's very difficult. So much attraction to them. Definitely a good karma, right? A lot of people, they have the attention everywhere. Wherever they go, they get respect, they get love, they get attention, they get help. Everyone bless them. If they are sick, everyone bless them. Imagine their power of karma. So the Buddha, after completing all these wonderful paramitas, he also had this meritorious deeds. So some of those features in him were remarkably significant. And so his physical feature is definitely part of his good karma. And then loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity that he was practicing were also very important. And I would like to actually go here, as I mentioned here, with the Lakhana Sutta. I think I have given you the link to the Lakhana Sutta in the, did you see that? Maybe I will give another link over here. Yeah, this one. Should I give you in the chat here? I think so. Okay, let's take a look at this one. This is Digha Nikaya 30. Digha Nikaya is part of Sutta Pitaka. There are 32 suttas in the Digha Nikaya, and 30th is Lakhana Sutta, the marks of a great man. Can someone please read it for me? Any volunteer to read?
I can read.
Yes.
Once the Lord Buddha was staying at Savatthi in Jetavana, Anathapindika's park. The Lord said, "There are monks these 32 marks peculiar to a great man. That great man who possesses them only have two careers. One, if he lives the household life, he will become a ruler, a wheel-turning, righteous monarch of the law, conqueror of the four quarters, who has established the security of his realm and is possessed of the seven treasures. These are the wheel treasure, the elephant treasure, the horse treasure, the jewel treasure, the woman treasure, the householder treasure, and the counselor treasure. He has more than 1,000 sons who are heroes, of heroic stature, conquerors of the hostile army. He dwells, having conquered this sea giant land, without stick or sword, by the law. But if he goes forth from the household life into homelessness, renunciation, and becomes a monk, he will become an arhat, a fully enlightened Buddha who has drawn back the veil from the world. Buddha, what are these 32 marks? 1, he has feet with level tread. 2, on the soles of his feet are wheels with 1,000 spokes, complete with felloe and hub. 3, he has projecting heels. 4, he has long fingers and toes. 5, he has soft and tender hands and feet. 6, his hands and feet are net-like. 7, he has high raised ankles. 8, his legs are like an antelope's. 9, standing and without bending, he can touch and rub his knees with either hand. 10, his male organs are enclosed in a sheath. 11, his complexion is bright, the color of gold. 12, his skin is delicate and so smooth that no dust can adhere to his body. 13, his body hairs are separate, one to each pore. 14, his body hairs grow upwards, each one bluish black like collyrium, curling into rings to the right. 15, his body is divinely straight. 16, he has the 7 convex surfaces. 17, the front part of his body is like a lion's. 18, there is no hollow between his shoulders. 19, he is proportioned like a banyan tree. The height of his body is the same as the span of his outstretched arms, and conversely. 20, he has evenly rounded chest. 21, he has a perfect sense of taste. 22, he has jaws like a lion's. 23, he has 40 teeth. 24, his teeth are even. 25, there are no spaces between his teeth. 26, his canine teeth are very bright. 27, his tongue is very long. 28, he has a Brahma-like voice, like that of the Karavika bird. 29, his eyes are deep blue. 30, he has eyelashes like a cow's. 31, the hair between his eyes is white and soft like cotton down. 32, his head is like a royal turban.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So the details of this also we have here. And okay, what do you think? What do you think of these qualities? How do you feel like? What? This is 32. Are they superhuman qualities?
I need to go to the gym and get that body line.
Do we have a picture somewhere that we could actually visualize what it means for each of the sign?
Yes, I think you know what a lot of people in the past, the artists especially, um, they they didn't know how to make the picture of the Buddha. So at the beginning, only the slippers or an empty chair or a dhamma wheel was used to respect the Buddha, because they didn't know how to draw a picture or something of the Buddha. It took long time for the artist to visually imagine the picture of the Buddha, and so they started thinking of many. And later on, they wanted to highlight these 32 qualities of the Buddha, and then the Buddha statue became bigger and bigger and bigger because they wanted to highlight all the qualities. Like um, giant Buddha statue in, I think, in Sichuan, right? And many Buddha statues in Bamiyan, which was recently destroyed, and many Buddha statues we do have. The artist tried to highlight, glorify the qualities of these 32 um, things. Yeah, it would be difficult to highlight all these things. Um, there are some which can be seen and maybe some not seen, but yeah. Um, do you think, like, for example, the 40 teeth, um, 40 teeth, like most of us have less than 32, right? And so maybe, they said he had 40 teeth, so 20 each. And uh, anyone has any thought about this?
I was actually Googling how many teeth were in the head because I thought 40 seemed a little much.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a very big jaw.
Yeah, like lion's jaw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also,
Uh,
what does that mean that there's no spaces between his teeth?
Well, if
like
you,
no space. Um, the teeth. Some people, have you seen like hole between the teeth and
Oh, the gap?
space?
Like
Yeah,
an
So
the
no
gap.
orthodont,
gaps,
yeah.
Yeah, no
He
gap.
didn't need braces.
no braces.
Yeah. So essentially, he had like the perfect mouth structure, perfect teeth, white, large jaw.
So does he even have to use the dental floss then? No spaces?
yeah. I mean, to be fair, if you got 40 teeth in your mouth, then you don't have room for spaces.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like
I'm guessing
you could floss if you want.
Bante, I do have a question. So
Yes.
I wonder if this is like a description specifically of like the Samma Sambuddha, right? Because I know there's like the Prakcheya Buddhas and the different types of like levels of enlightenment. I'm forgetting all the exact names and descriptions, but the Samma Sambuddha, right, is like the ultimate, like the Buddha. So
Yeah.
You have the entire knowledge of the Dharma at your hands. You can teach just as Shakyamuni Buddha did. So
Yeah.
are these descriptions for that type of Buddha? Because I guess
Yeah.
otherwise,
This
if
is
they
for the
weren't.
Samma Sambuddha.
Okay.
This is for the Samma Sambuddha. Pacceka Buddha, okay, I would like to say, like Samma Sambuddha has completed all the 30 paramitas. The paramita, 10 paramita, 10 upaparamita, and 10 paramattha paramita. And Pacceka Buddha, 10 paramita and 10 upaparamita, no paramattha. No sacrificing life. Okay, so 20 paramitas by the Pacceka Buddhas, individual Buddhas. Some even call private Buddhas. And Arahatas only 10 paramitas. They don't practice about um, other things, mostly these. And if you, of course, if you want to become like Sariputta Moggallana, they have to be more specific, you know. If you want to become like a personal attendant of the Buddha, you have to be more specific in fulfilling your paramitas. Yeah, that is the thing.
So if one wanted to work on generating these marks in future lifetimes, is it like just by working on the paramitas and following the path, these traits will slowly end up in your body in future lifetimes? Or is it like, is it like meditative contemplations for making your chest more round and having more teeth? Like, does there have to be intention to get these
No way.
traits in motion?
You know, they never think of all these things. They never think of all these things, you know. Like when you see a picture of someone, like some people, when you see, they look so kind, compassionate, very amazing features some people have, right? And even without any makeup, you can become such a beautiful person, some very attractive person, and you would like to look at that person many a times maybe, and you feel so happy to see such people. And it can happen. We see in our lifetime how many people we see. Oh, they are so beautiful people, so handsome people. You can see them, right? So that definitely should be their karma. So with someone like the Buddha, who has done so much in his previous births to, you know, come to this stage, he definitely must have had some extraordinary features. um, I don't know how to paint a picture of these qualities. How would somebody look like? It would be very difficult to say. But I think overall, what we need to highlight is they are very different from the rest of the people. Like they all with positive energies. That's something that we need to see. Okay, good discussion.
When we were taking a class called Buddhist ethics, or at that time, I think the Bante taught us one of the things to do to make yourself beautiful or attractive is the tolerance.
And
If
also
you practice the tolerance.
practice sila. Practice sila also is very important thing. Yeah.
I only remember the tolerance.
Yeah, tolerance. Let's say like you get angry, what happens? You see immediate reaction, right? Your face changes completely. You know, you look like a monster when you get really ferocious. And suddenly you show so much compassion, peace, and happiness in you. You can see even the animals, even the snakes can feel it. You know, wild animals can feel it. That's amazing. Um, so, have you rescued any of the snakes? Have you seen? I have rescued some snakes actually myself, several actually. Yesterday, when I was cleaning the temple, it was not a snake, of course. It was like a gecko, but it was a longer one. And I saw it was lying under a seat, and then I removed. I wanted to clean, and then it was like not moving, like very calm. And then I talked to another monk. Now, how do we remove him? And then we should not disturb him. We should also not hurt him. And then I took a plastic bag. I slowly keep the plastic bag mouth open in front of him, and he peacefully went inside. It was so easy for me to, take him and leave it outside the brush. It was easy. And one time, actually, I remember when I was teaching in the university there. In the middle of the night, I was going to the bathroom. I felt a snake in the slipper. And I did not wear the slipper, just I felt the cold sensation. And then I saw a small snake was winding there, and I rescued it. I just did the same thing. I didn't panic and just use a plastic bag, and I took him outside. And another time I remember um, uh, a cat, you know, uh, a mommy was very angry with the snake because she had a kitten, some kitten, and the snake was a viper, but it was a small viper. I heard this hissing sound so strong, and I saw, oh, it was a viper. And the viper was also hissing. He was kind of scared, and the cat was also like trying to attack all the time, like very angry. And then I with some help, using some very primary methods though, but I use a stick and also plastic bag, and I rescued him. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, so these things can make a difference. The loving kindness in you, it can make you beautiful, and it can make you like very pretty. And also practicing sila, especially sila, is really important. Khanti, definitely. Patience can make you so calm and relaxed and peaceful. Other people can feel that, you know other people can feel that. Wild elephants can feel that too. Wild animals can feel that. Fish can feel it. Anyone can feel it. When you have compassion, when you have generosity, when you have loving kindness, the others can feel it. Even do you know, even the plants, fauna and flora, they can feel that too. Uh, for example, if you go to a vegetable garden or flower garden, maybe if you have a flower pot, you just go every day and tenderly touch that and talk to that, compassionately talk to the flower. They can feel it. You do it maybe 1 week continuously, you will see some change. uh, there are things like that in the nature too. They are much beyond expression. Many things are there just like that. Oh, I think it's time um, for maybe next after the break we will start with the Quizlet. Okay. We will discuss more directly with we will practice Quizlet and also learn more about the 28 factors of Chitta, Rupa. Any other question so far? Okay, so please take a break. We'll see you soon then. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Have a
Bante.
wonderful day. Okay, bye-bye.
I see you later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. 谢谢.
Closing the room. See everybody later.
Okay. See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
再见。